So today's badge is the I Like Arthur badge. This was a badge that was produced for Catto Meet. And when I was at art school, I was doing an advertising course, and we were asked to do an ad for Catto Meet. Now at the time there was a very famous commercial for Catto Meet featuring a white cat called Arthur, who actually sort of scooped the cat food out of the tin. It was something that he just naturally did. I don't think he was actually trained to do it, I think he just did it. But Catto Meet discovered this cat called Arthur. So he was one of the subjects of a commercial that I produced at art school. I don't actually remember that particular commercial. The commercial that I remember most that I'd made at art school was a bit bizarre. I was living, at the time I was at art school, I was living in a squat in Kensington Gardens Square. It was very nice. And it was fine. We didn't have, the only trouble we had was when it was a very big house, so it wasn't just us, it was us and friends, and then became friends of friends who we didn't know as well. So it got a little bit difficult. And one day I got home to find the whole front door had been completely demolished, and I thought, what the hell's happened here? And it had turned out that there was one of the friends of a friend was a drug dealer and was dealing drugs from his room at the top of the house. And he'd been spotted by the Special Patrol Group, which was this sort of band of thugs wearing police uniforms who used to carry around pickaxes and stuff and baseball bats in the back of their unmarked cars to question suspects. Anyway, so they'd seen this drug dealer go into our house, and they'd broken in and followed him, and they'd questioned everybody in the house. And at that time I didn't even smoke, so they were quite surprised that there was somebody who was sort of nicely spoken, didn't smoke, and I went down to the police station because they said everybody had to, and in those days what the police said you did. That's unusual now, I guess, but there was respect for the police, and so we had to replace the front door. But generally it was a fantastic house to live in. But it was quite close to Westbourne Park Road. And I had this idea for at the time there were no men's shampoos. There were probably about half a dozen different shampoos, but mostly people used Vosine, and which is a one for dandruff. But everybody used it. It was just the thing to do. And I thought it'd be really nice if there was a shampoo just for men. So I found out that the formulation. I actually went to Beecham, Scott and Bown out on the Westway, and had a chat to them about how to make shampoo, and they taught me all about how to make shampoo, and whether men's hair was different to women's hair, and whether it needed a different amount of foaming agent, or a different amount of detergent, or a different amount of conditioner within it. Anyway, so we came up with a formula for a shampoo just specifically for men, and I came up with this idea to call it Barbershop. So it was going to be called Barbershop shampoo for men, and the packaging was like a barber's pole, like red and white stripes, with the top was like a round white top. It was really, the packaging was great, the name was good, and I came up with an idea for a commercial for it, which was to have a bunch of guys who had like really slick back hair, and they would rob a bank, and they would go in and they would rob the bank, and then they would come out with the bags of loot, wash their hair so it was nice and sort of 1970s bouffant, and then go back and deposit the same money in the bank, and nobody in the bank would recognise them because their hair is completely different. So it's not a bad idea. Anyway, so I went into the local branch of Barclays and said, "Hi, I'm an art student, we're making a film, would you mind if a whole bunch of guys came in here pretending to rob the bank?" And the bank manager said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" We are talking really so much simpler times here. And so we did. So me and 3 other guys, we went and ran into the bank, with bags. We dubbed in the shouting. And then we ran out of the bank with bags. Obviously didn't take any money out. The bags were already full of like fake money when we walked into the bank, so we like show that they were stuffing full of money. And then we left the bank. And then first of all we went into the bank with the bags, and we with our hair sort of normal. I think my hair was back sort of down to here at the time. And so we sort of like pretended to pay the money in at the bank, and then we went away and then greased up our hair, and then went back in and pretended to rob it. And the bank manager was absolutely fine with all of this. He thought it was a great lark, and he got a copy of the film, and we'd finished it, and all the bank staff were very happy. It was delightful. I can't imagine that happening now without so many problems. But we did it, and it was a good commercial. But it wasn't the cat and meat one that I did. But that's why I have the cat and meat badge, is because of making that Arthur and cat and meat commercial when I was at art school.